Joe, Illinois and Indiana, a Big Ten clash this weekend. When you look at Illinois versus Indiana, how do you see this one playing out?
Blake, man, I am so excited for this game, dude. And I got to be honest, I don't at this current moment have like a defined pick. I have a lean, which I'm going to share towards the end of the segment. I have a lean where I'm looking. Illinois fans, I don't hate you guys. I just made a really bad pick in week 2. And I was proven very wrong, and my eyes were reopened because I've been an Illinois supporter. I've been an incredible Illinois supporter. Both these teams are very comparable, Blake. Both these teams have various strengths that match up with the opposing team's strengths. You've got well-coached defenses. You've got teams that were effective in adding talent through the transfer portal to bolster key positions. Both these teams are either really good at running, or let me rephrase that. Illinois is really damn good at running the football, and Indiana's really damn good at throwing the ball. They've also averaged over 300 yards rushing to this point. And Altmeyer has made some awesome plays as a passer up until this point. Blake, I think the one part that I'm the most excited about, we get a clash between two of the most entertaining coaches in the sport. We get Curt Cignetti, who doesn't give an F, and he's going to talk crap, and he's going to just completely mean mug on the sidelines. And then we got Bret Bielema, who's going to talk crap, and he's going to mean mug on the sidelines. I am so excited for the fact that we're getting blessed with these two guys, and I'm a little bit disappointed that this game is not getting the game day treatment, and it's not going to be the host site of College Game Day.
Over at FanDuel, Indiana's a 5.5-point favorite. The over-under is at 52.5. If you'd like to go over there and place that bet, if you seem fit or deem fit. Joe, Old Dominion lost to Indiana 27-14, and they basically had walkthroughs the last 2 weeks with Indiana State and Kennesaw State. Kennesaw State is a horrible football team. Indiana State is a horrible football team. And I don't mean that in a bad way, but it is what it is. Joel, they went up against Old Dominion, who ironically was the team that was the one that beat Virginia Tech to fire Brent Key. I don't know why my mind just keeps going there, but it's what happened. I know you ran for 309 yards against them. Why couldn't you separate against Old Dominion? Like, the last time that a team couldn't separate from Old Dominion was last year that we thought that they should, and it was South Carolina, and everybody's like, oh, man, South Carolina might be pretty bad. They can't separate from Indiana, or they can't separate from Old Dominion. Well, what would we figure out? No, Old Dominion's actually a pretty damn good run program. And so I don't know what to make of them. I know Fernando Mendoza has 10 touchdowns the last 2 weeks combined. I know that they got some big weapons like Surratt and the boys coming back. They return a lot of production. But, Joe, the question that I have, and that through 4 weeks or 3 weeks really, I don't have the answer to, is I think this Illinois team is really physical. And with that physicality, how do you uphold? When you face teams like Michigan, when you face teams like Notre Dame last year, when you face off against teams like Ohio State, you got completely outmatched up front. You just, over and over again, your offensive line got outmatched. I don't know what to make of them. So I don't know where to lean on this at all either, really. I don't know where to lean. What I would say is even with it being Duke, I do feel like I know a little bit more about Illinois. I do think that they're physical up front. I do think that running game will get going. And the truth of the matter is that Luke Altmeyer has played very well. And it does not – I want to say this before I kick it back over to you. I'm not saying Indiana's a fraud. I'm not saying that they're not a good football team. I don't know what to make of them because, again, Kennesaw State and Indiana State, you did exactly what you're supposed to do, and I'll pat you on the back. But if people don't want to give credit to Alabama for absolutely obliterating ULM, then why should we give Indiana that same credit when they beat teams that are very bad? This is why fans want to see you tested in the beginning of the year, why you shouldn't have canceled those games in the beginning of the year. I don't know what to make of you, but I know that I've seen Illinois be very physical through 3 weeks, and I'm wondering, did you fix the real problem that you had a year ago?
I think when you have a brand new quarterback in your system, that wasn't there the year prior, you got to give a little bit of grace
Fair.
to Mendoza to figure some things out and to champion him. And I'm a very big Fernando Mendoza fan. He was my number one quarterback over the summer for draft evaluations. I liked him the most out of all the guys that I watched. I had him, I had Sellers, and I Nuss and Klubnik not far behind. And so far, Nuss has been better than Klubnik, but that's not important. I think that we've already seen them get into a ridiculous rhythm. We're starting to see from Mendoza when he's actually protected. He was the second most sacked quarterback last year. We see the poise that he plays with. And when he has actual receivers in Cooper and Surratt, we see what he's able to do as a playmaker. I think that this is a really nice quarterback battle.
It's a great quarterback battle.
Mendoza is the more physically gifted quarterback. I made the mistake of leaning into that way too much with Darian Mensah in the first game. So we have to bring up the fact that this Illinois secondary is tremendous. You have Xavier Cooper, who has been awesome, and Matthew Bailey, who's also been awesome. You have both of those guys that can be big-time playmakers in that Illinois defense. There's two stats that I want to bring up that I think help us figure out where a lean can be found in this game. There's no defined this team wins, even though the title of the video is going to say that because I love doing that. In the last two games, Illinois has averaged 12 points and 127 yards in the first half. So they have had very slow starts. Indiana in this offense is not the team to have a slow start against. They have been very explosive, and they've shown explosiveness since that really mediocre first game that they played. Indiana is also averaging 300 rush yards per game, but Illinois is only allowing 74 rush yards and 2.7 yards per carry. So we've got a little bit of a figuring out to be had here because both their strengths seem to clash with one another.
Well, you're a month into the season, and I don't think that Curt Cignetti, regardless of what he says this week or what he says moving forward, I don't think that he really knows what he has as a team. There's no way that you know. But I would point this out to Illinois. Illinois is in the top 10 for the first time in quite some time. And you made a splash by absolutely dog-walking Duke. And I think for both of these teams in the Big Ten, who, quite honestly, with what is Michigan, we don't know. And we'll talk about Michigan and Nebraska next here. We don't know who that third, fourth team is going to be. We have a good idea that Ohio State, Oregon, and Penn State will be there. Mm-hmm. Who's battling out for that fourth team in the Big Ten? Joe, I got to say this. Altmeyer's been there and done that. And I think that I've seen a lot of confidence from him. I know that you love Mendoza, and I like Fernando too. But, again, I want to break this game down, and I want to talk about all the things that they have. But I don't think it's fair when you're playing no-name opponents and you're able to run fade routes and you're able to run the ball at will and you're able to do some of the things that you want to do. Joe, we have teams, by the way, in the Big Ten and the SEC that have already faced 3 Power 4 opponents. It's been 3 weeks, right? You have a team like Notre Dame that you have more of an answer to. LSU, Ohio State. Penn State hasn't gone through anything. What do we make of them?
Okay.
I feel as if that Illinois, for what it's worth, is going to, in the beginning of this game, do some things on the line of scrimmage and out-physical them and take it right to them. I do. I'm all Bret Bielema team, man.
I know that you're going to kind of dismiss this, but I'm laughing at the fact that I just realized you spent a lot of the offseason criticizing Curt Cignetti and his approach to the schedule and his comments about the schedule and all that stuff. And it's now occurring to me 3 weeks in, you're taking the time out of the segment to point out that they haven't played anyone. I get that. I understand that. I'm very early in.
Black cup of coffee. I'm always consistent.
Okay. I'm not trying to call you out. I'm just saying that I think you're justified in bringing up the fact that Illinois overwhelmed Duke. They forced a number of key turnovers. They were way too much, and the experience on that roster showed up for Duke to handle. I think that this is a completely different monster, though. And I said this already. I completely misjudged the Illinois Duke game. I was so wrong. And I respect Illinois a lot more. And I did respect them coming into the season, but I got a little too cute with it. I let the opinions of some other people sway me in making that decision. I got stupid. I still think that this Indiana team is tremendously better than what Duke was. And I think that one of the biggest parts about this.
With that. No,
yeah,
I
know that you're not trying to say that. I know you're not trying to say that. I think that the separation point, though, here, Blake, is that this Indiana defense has some tremendous players that were recognized as All-Americans coming into the season. Mo Kamara, D'Angelo Pons, Aiden Fisher. I'm also a very big fan of Amari Farrell, one of their premier safeties. One note that I also have to add to this conversation. As dominant as Illinois was against Duke, they still allowed 356 yards passing to Darian Mensah. And I think that Mendoza is a lot more composed of a quarterback. I think Mensah is really gifted, but I don't think he's there yet in his development. I think
he also had 4 turnovers, and they were on the field a lot because they had short fields. I get what you're saying, but there was a lot of times where he got the ball right back.
I'm not pointing that out to say that Illinois has some sort of porous secondary. I just hyped up 2 of their key starters that they have in their secondary, but I'm just merely pointing that out. If Mendoza ends up getting into a rhythm and starts popping off like he's done the last 2 games, it wouldn't shock me.
No, I don't. Indiana going out there and handling business wouldn't shock me either. All I'm just trying to say is that I'm not going to make any judgments on you when I know that you've played nobody. I mean, I cannot do it. Do you want me to come in here and continue to give you some of the preseason stuff that we talked about? Sure. No. I think. Hey, want to answer the question? Illinois, can you beat a ranked opponent and be the 4th team in the Big Ten? Indiana, you physically got abused against teams along your offensive line. You brought a lot of those key pieces back. So what have we figured out through the first 3 weeks that college football has taught us with teams that have brought the same offensive line back? Oh, they'll take a year of development and they'll get better. Okay, name one. Name one. Because I literally have Clemson who's getting walked over. I have 4 of the 5 guys, or 3 of the 4 or 5 guys at Alabama that came back that were literal All-Americans that got walked over by Florida State. I got the same situation at Oklahoma, and Joe, they still have the same issues. So are you going to get out physical versus Illinois? Because you're not – hey, you know the only one? I thought you would get me with this. Miami is the only one that I've seen take that next step with the same dudes. Literally.
Wait. So your argument – I don't think Indiana's offensive line isn't the complete same unit from last year. They brought in a number of new players.
Complete same unit, but – you showed me a year ago that you will get out physical at that unit. Are you going to get out physical again?
I think that the players that they added in the portal this offseason have boosted the group. And I think that we're going to – but this is the whole point with this game, is that this ends up being a catalyst, I think, for success in 2025. Yeah, it opens the door for one of these teams to go on a run.
I mean, this could be your 4th team in the Big Ten that makes the playoffs, if we're just being open and honest here.
Right.
Right.
Yeah.
Oh, go ahead. Sorry.
No, I was just going to say the winner is going to end up answering all the questions that you just had there. So that was my final point.
Yep. All right.